Today I'm going to teach you how to create an elegant watercolor drawing of a twig using a blending technique that may seem difficult until you actually see it here on video and realize how easy it is. So the very first thing you're going to do is get out your watercolor palette, and you're going to choose a dark green and add some water to it using a syringe or a small spoon. I've already added some water, but I'm going to add just a touch more. And what this does is this prepares the watercolor for you to use it. I'm also going to use a light green here, and then also a deep dark value. So you don't want a black, you're looking for more of a brown or a dark purple. So I've chosen this dark purple here. Now while the water soaks into these colors, you're going to take a pencil, and what you're going to do is outline your drawing. So you're just going to freehand draw this, and really I promise you there's no way that you can ruin this because a twig is a natural object. So no matter how you draw it, you know, leaves come in all different shapes and sizes. It's not going to look strange. So I'm going to start here and draw my first leaf. And then I'm going to draw a stem down here. And I want to end my stem with about as much distance here as I have up here. So maybe just a tad bit longer. And then I'm just going to continue adding some leaves, and I'll speed the video up. Okay, now I'm finished drawing my leaves. As you can see, some of them have stems and some of them do not, so you'll just want to vary that. And then you'll want to make sure that the leaf over here on the right, this space is roughly equal to this space for the leaf furthest on the left. You might want to erase any pencil lines that are really jutting out. And now it's time to paint over these leaves. So now what you're going to do is take your lightest green value here and a paintbrush. This paintbrush is size 3. You can tell because it has a 3 here, but really you can use any size you're comfortable with. Okay, so take this light value and see how nicely the water has mixed with this. And then if you're right-handed, I would start with this leaf first, just so you can, you know, sort of move, get everything done on the right side first, and then your hand won't be dragging and stuff. If you're left-handed, you might start on the right side. And then you can see that I'm just filling in this entire leaf with this light green and some water. So this is my base layer. You want to make sure that this leaf is nice and wet, because now what we're going to do is dip our paintbrush in this dark green and just sort of kiss it to the leaf. And you'll see that this paint will sort of bloom out and just blend in very, very nicely. And right now we're just building up this leaf. And you can see that I'm sort of, you know, trying to paint over these pencil lines because I've got a dark value here. So the dark value is going to completely disguise those lines. And I'm just wiping off my brush here, getting it nice and clean. And if it only has water in it, it's going to blend very well. Now, if you want to add even more visual interest, you can add that brown or purple down here. See, that looks really pretty. Kind of a little surprise. Alright, so while your paint is still nice and wet here, and make sure it is quite wet, go ahead and take a pinch, just a tiny pinch, of salt. So I just really don't have that much here. And just sprinkle a little bit on that leaf that you just made. So what's going to happen here is the salt is going to stay on the leaf as the watercolor dries, and then after the watercolor completely dries, you'll be able to scrape that salt off, and there will be these really neat little impressions in the paint where these grains of salt were. But make sure you don't overdo it on the salt. You know, easy does it here. Now I'm going to do the rest of the leaves, and I'm going to speed up the video so you can see just how easy this is. And it's the same process for each one. Start with the light layer, so that light green, build it up with the dark green, and you can add some of the darker, you know, brown or purple if you'd like. Alright, so that probably took about 5 minutes, and there's really no trick to it. It's just, again, start with the light green and then just put some dark green and maybe some purple or brown on, and you have, you know, these leaves that have a few different colors in them. So how you're going to finish up is, if you're comfortable using a dip pen, go ahead and grab one. I like using these because they can make really nice, thin, precise lines. If you don't like using these, you can get out a smaller paintbrush to make delicate lines. So you're gonna take your dip pen and then just load some of that light green value onto the tip of it. And then load some of the brown or purple value further up on the nib. And these will mix in the nib. Then start up here at the left and just pull down, and you'll see that you have a nice line that's starting to turn a little bit purple. And if it's too purple, you can add some more green into it, which is what I'm going to do. And now you've got this nice delicate stem that has a couple of tones in it. So what you're going to do at this point is just wait for at least an hour, because you want to make sure that your watercolor is completely dry. At that time, your watercolor should be completely dry. So I've got another piece here that I'll show you what I'm going to do on. Your salt will also be dry. So what you'll want to do is just take your finger and rub the salt off of the piece. And if some of the salt stays on there, that's totally fine. And you're left with this very nice effect.